What is your background? Like, what did you do before stock video?
I did a lot of things. And one, I keep skipping to different sectors, finding something that's more interesting and a little more interesting, and another opportunity comes my way. And I'm like, why not try it? So let's see,
Guilty.
I
Yeah.
guess. And I've heard that people in my generation end up happier in their careers because they tried so many things versus previous generations that might have said, okay, I'm going to study to be this. Now I'm going to be this for the rest of my life. And if you're not super happy with it, you might feel trapped. Whereas if you jump around a lot, you have a better chance of finding things that you do and don't like. So I live in Spain now, and I've lived here for about 7 years because in college I studied Spanish and theater, and then moved here to teach. I taught for a while. I did translations, and then I did copywriting, and I also do a lot of video work because my partner Garvey does videos professionally. And then I got kind of tired of the gig cycle of okay, now it's this for however many months, and then that's over, and then the next thing for however many months, and then that's over. And I started talking to a friend about passive income and was like, that sounds amazing. I'm going to get into that. And heard about stock video, sounded like it was like the perfect combination of Garvery's and my skills, and just kind of dove into that as my first stream of passive income. So that's kind of why I'm here today, from jumping across all those things of like writing and translating and teaching and video, and now this.
Okay, so how'd you come across Blackbox specifically? Because that's where you and I met and started interacting there.
Definitely. I found it through William Hunter's YouTube channel. He's got some great videos to get started on passive income. So I spent a full month studying all the different kinds of passive income to try to find one that seemed like it would work well for me. And for each one, it was like, I could do this, but I don't think I'd follow through. And I just know. And they say you should find your geekdom. You should find something you're passionate about. And I was like, well, drop shipping and like all these other options. I knew
Geekdom. I've never heard that one. That's good.
Yeah. It was from a book, an audio book that I read. That one of the pillars that they say to have a successful online business is find something that you're in the geekdom of. So I pulled that from there.
What book was that?
It was. I can find it on my Audible. I think it's like one person millionaire businesses or something along those lines. It's a great book where she's talking about all of these different businesses that just had 1, 2, 2 or 3 people that were incredibly lean that ended up reaching like $1 million in income within their first 10 years, if not the first 2 or 3. That was one of the first things that I read in my search.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when I came across something that said, like, it was one of those lists of like 23 different types of passive income. One of them was stock footage, and I had this little click of like, that could be fun. I could do that with Garvey. That could be great. Let's look more into that. And then I found William's YouTube channel, which is great, and watched all of his videos except the one on Blackbox. And so then I went to the agencies, made my profiles, was all ready, had my first clips, and I was like, oh, there's one more video I haven't watched. And then I watched it, and it was the Blackbox one. So then I signed up there, and I was really hesitant at first. You hear this like, okay, it's this new company, they take a percentage, and I was like, well, I'll join the community and then kind of feel it out for 2 weeks and then decide if I want to upload there.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
I joined early when it was like May of 2018. It was like
I think we joined the same month.
Yeah, it was before the tsunami of new members. And I was still able to scroll back to the beginning of the feed. So
wow.
Yeah.
So I think when I joined, there was like 1,300 members in the group. And now there's like 30,000 or something like that. And Blackbox itself is over 50K.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think there was even less possibly when I joined. But I remember I went through and I skimmed every single post that was in the group. And I was like, there's so much information here. I asked one question and somebody responded immediately. And I was like, okay, I'm convinced. I'm signing up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No, Blackbox has been outstanding. It's definitely something we're going to be talking about at Stock Footage Academy. Although, yeah, I was definitely curious and skeptical. And then I guess just the more I read, the more I talked. And what really sold me on Blackbox was the collaboration aspect. 100%, because even before I was ready to sit down and shoot my own video, I was curating, mostly doing metadata curation for some people, and then I made my first sale after 3 months on a clip from Gibraltar. And I've never been to Gibraltar. I would love to go to Gibraltar, but I made money on video from Gibraltar. And that just like, light bulb moment. Like, this is a thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to sound funny now, but I wasn't even planning on collaborating when I joined Blackbox. I was just joining it to get the upload once, get to many approach. Like, that was what interested me. Yeah.
Well, same. That's what brought me in. But then once I got started, I was like, well, instead of just like wait until I'm ready to shoot, edit keywords, like, why don't I just work on one aspect first? And the aspect I was perhaps less familiar with, like, I understood cameras, but keywording is not specifically something I'd done in stock. I mean, I had some experience with SEO and that kind of thing, but yeah, it was eye-opening. And then just talking to Pat, I had a few conversations with him. We've done a few phone calls over the past 2 years, and just listening to the way he talks about changing the way creators get paid, I'm like, all right, pour me that Kool-Aid. I'm in. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what has been your main focus in stock?
My main focus, do you mean subject-wise, or like, are you metadata?
Yeah. Yes. Just do it all.
Okay. Let's see. I don't have any specific subjects that I've been focusing on, but I've been focusing on writing the metadata, which is the SEO optimized titles, keywords, and category. And I come from a writing background, and I had done specifically a full year of SEO copywriting.
Perfect.
And I heard you pronounce it SEO. I pronounced it at first SEO, because that's how they pronounce it in Spanish. And then somebody else laughed at me and said it was SEO. So I don't know how it's officially pronounced.
I come from a military background where every 3-letter acronym is pronounced, not spoken, because SEO is way too long compared to CO.
I can get behind that, and then I won't be embarrassed because my friend was laughing at me. There was one meeting, we were like sitting down at lunch, and I was like, yeah, SEO, and she was like, what? But yeah, I have been specializing in that, and I came from the background where I had an understanding, but each platform has its peculiarities and its own best practices.
Yeah, for sure.
So I spent, before I started keywording for my own clips, or my clips with my partner Gravity, I spent a month studying the agency best practices and taking so many notes. And I think to do my first 12 clips, I took like 6 hours, because they were also editorial. So I was triple checking everything, and I would write some keywords and be like, can I write these keywords? Should I write these keywords? Is something missing? Rewatching videos. And now it's just like second nature. So I tell that to everyone. I'm like, don't worry that it takes a long time at the beginning. You will get used to it. There is a learning curve.
Yeah, but honestly, that level of obsession is probably exactly why you've become like the go-to person for keywording in Blackbox. I mean, you've got 30,000 people just waiting. You've got 30,000 people just waiting on your next post about like, well, this is the change this month, so everything you knew was wrong.
It's fun. It's fun. I think one of the most fun things is when people will be like, I saw this change. Does this affect us? Victoria Smith. that always makes me laugh, and then I'll
You're the resident expert. Since then, you've gone on and you've made 2 online courses so far. And I took the first one. I'm hoping to line up the second one this weekend. And I mean, I've already said this in other videos, but it's fantastic. It is absolutely the place to go to learn and understand. I was working on something small last year about how to just briefly explain keywording to people. And let's just say I put that aside now. I'm just going to be recommending yours. Like,
thanks.
So if you actually want to know what's going on, just go watch this. It'll be the best hour of your life.
I didn't pay you.
No, I just it's fantastic. Like, honestly, and just straightforward, no BS, easily actionable, and everything I want in an online course is just right there.
Well, thank you. I'm glad.
I will be doing a few review videos, and I did one for another course I took. It's not actually quite stock related. It's about audio work for video and how to clean it up afterwards and that kind of thing. And yeah, I reviewed it because it changed the way I work, just like your keywording course changed the way I work. And that's where I feel like it's worthwhile. If I actually change the way I'm doing something and it's better, then I'm absolutely going to tell everyone about it.
I love that.
Let's talk about the two different courses, and if you want to explain the genesis of each and why each is different.
Sure. Yeah. So the first course is how to write killer keywords for your stock footage, and it's all about official agency best practices. So I don't put much of my opinion in there. I try to stick to really what the agencies say they want us to do and what they say works and what doesn't work and what will get your clip accepted and what could get your clip rejected. Because I had so many people private messaging me that I couldn't respond to all of it. And also having all of those, and I wanted to help because I had the knowledge. I knew that I had some of the answers that they're looking for, because I can't teach you how to be a professional videographer in an hour. But if you give me an hour, I can absolutely teach you keywording best practices. So
for sure.
I went through and found every single article I could find from the major agencies, Shutterstock, Adobe, VideoBlocks at the time, and Pond5 that Blackbox uploads to. Found every single article that they had on keywording best practices and rules. And I created one long document that ended up being like 22 pages long. And then I synthesized that into all of the major points and then made videos for it and gave my own examples. And that's the first course, is really agency best practices, so that people could have no idea how to keyword, watch that course, and then have an idea of how to at least get started. And then the second course is brainstorm killer keywords from start to finish for your stock footage. And that one is it's my personal brainstorming process. So I've stepped away from the obsessive agency reviews, and I'm saying, okay, so some people after the first course said that they wish that they had a few more examples. And so I went, okay, I can do that. And I wrote down all of the different steps that I do when I'm brainstorming. And there are basically 11 of them. I don't do all 11 every single time, but the more complex a clip is or the larger a batch, the more steps I'll do. So then in that course, I take you through the different steps that I'll do. And then I do that with an example clip. And then I have 3 other clips where I go through it much faster. So you can see what it actually looks like when I take those steps and then do them. Whereas in the first course, I gave some ideas on how to brainstorm, but it was more of the theory. It was, here's a thing you can do. Here's another thing you can do. And the second course is, here's a thing you can do, and I'll walk you through me doing it.
That's fantastic.
And so then that's the second one.
Okay. And the thing I think one of the greatest things you did with this course is the optional assignment at the end of the first course. I'm assuming you have something similar for the second course, or if they do the same thing, you'll still vet their work?
Yeah, it's similar but different.
Okay. So with the first course, for those that don't know, after you finished, we do the process that was been outlined in the course, and you can go through and do some metadata on 3 clips, I believe.
Yes.
You asked for? Okay, just like the metadata reels we use in Blackbox?
Exactly. So the ones
Perfect.
that you and I designed, how long ago was that? A year ago?
A year ago, yeah.
So you and I
a little bit more, yeah.
And we workshopped a metadata reel, because there was a problem where curators needed to be kind of vetted, and
Absolutely.
also
show off what they can do.
To prove that they were good, but then also be able to show off a bit. Exactly. So 1, make sure that you know what you're doing, and 2, show off that you know what you were doing. So we came up with, we have like the shooters have their clip reels, the editors have their editing reels, and now the metadata curators have their metadata reels. That's like the screenshots of 3 clips, and then the 3 titles, and then the 3 sets of keywords. And so you and I workshop that together to come up with the final product that people can copy exactly if they want, or they can make it their own. And I basically help them create their own in my course. And at the end, you can upload your project. And this is why I chose Skillshare. I chose Skillshare because there's a project section, and because I could give everybody a 2-month free trial and I would still get paid for it. So that was a major plus for me. So you can upload your metadata reel at the end of the course, and then I'll give you feedback on it. And if in the first iteration you've done a good job of following best practices, I offer to list you in my recommended curator list. There's been a couple people who their first metadata reel didn't quite follow best practices and I wasn't comfortable recommending them, but they wanted to be on the list. So I had them create a second metadata reel. And if that second metadata reel then followed best practices without my feedback, then I went ahead and added them. So that's what I've been using that section for. And I'm getting the courses ready for Udemy right now. And one of the things I'm struggling with is how to incorporate a way to give feedback.
Okay, wow. I mean, that's a huge thing for such an accessible course. I mean, Skillshare is what, $20 a month? And
it's 15, and if you pay for the whole year, I believe it's 10 a month.
Okay, wow, even better. But you are giving one-on-one feedback at a level that far outweighs the cost, and I think that's fantastic. And then for the people in Blackbox, having their reel being posted and being vetted and saying everyone knows who you are. So as soon as you say you can trust these curators, like that's collaboration. That's money. That's exactly what's gonna help.
I'm glad, because I also had a lot of shooters write to me and say, can you recommend anybody to me? And there was a time when I couldn't. I said, I have no idea what anybody's work looks like, because myself as a metadata curator, I only work with shooters and editors. So this was, sure. and I had tried to find a way to get people's work samples, but then it was kind of a lot of time that I also wasn't being compensated for. So then I had to ask, how sustainable is this to be spending this much time on something that ultimately is pulling me farther away from my goals, which are to build more streams of passive income. So having it on the course is just, I think it's win-win for everybody.
Okay. Do you do any more personal mentorship? Like, do you offer a mentorship program? Do you do one-on-one work?
I'm so glad you asked. Yes, I am working right now. I'm working with two people, Cameron McGeorge and Amanda Grant, and we're testing one-on-one mentorship. Cool. So the way that we've set it up is they add me as a curator on 100 clips for just 15%. So normally for metadata, I do 30%. And on these clips, this 100, because I figured that was an amount that was good to give me a return on my investment, but also to make sure that they know what they're doing. They write their own metadata. And then in a Google Doc, I give them feedback on each of those clips. So they'll write the metadata, I'll go in, I'll watch the clip, I'll look at the metadata, and then I'll give them feedback on each one in small batches. So let's say Amanda writes metadata for 5 or 10 clips, and then I go in and I say, this is great, keep doing this, this is fantastic. I would change this because this way, I would remove this word because, and then let her go in and fix it. And then she does the next batch, including those changes. And it really gets to a point where I start looking at the batches and I say, this is great. I added this one keyword just because I could, but it looks fantastic. You're following best practices. So that's fantastic. We're testing that now. And then that's the way where I can offer them help in a way that's truly helpful and tangible and measurable. And they can have that Google Doc forever if they want to go back and look at some of the feedback. And then also, since I am getting a small percentage in it, there's an investment for me to make sure you're doing your best work. So then that way, we both want the metadata on that clip to be as good as possible because we're both invested. And then at the end of, if I've seen your work on 100 clips, I can definitely guarantee you with a clear conscience.
Especially one-on-one mentorship, that's even like that's more in depth than just the assignment. That's fantastic. Wow. All right. So I guess that's the next question. What's your current projects? Do you have anything else on the go?
Yeah. So I'm thinking about a third course, but I'm not sure if I'm going to make it right now. And I am setting up the other 2 courses on Udemy. I'm going to put them as a bundle. I wasn't originally going to, but a handful of people specifically asked me if I could put it on Udemy. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then Gabby and I right now are working on, we want to get 5,000 clips in our portfolio, and we want to do it in 3 months. So right now we have 1,000 clips, just under 1,000 clips. And I sat down and did the math of like, okay, then per month, per week, per day. Okay, let's do it. and we're going to try to get another 4,000 in 3 months, and then see what projects come along, because we're both reaching a point where we were a little disconnected with our I think passion is a pretty heavy word here, but with like sparks of interest. And
Yes, okay.
it got to a point where it would be like, okay, what should we film, or what should we go and do, or what should we write about? And so we decided to set a very ambitious goal for ourselves. And when you're thinking about, I need to film every day and I need to film this huge quantity of stuff, all of a sudden you start to see things everywhere. And so that's been really great for us. Yeah. And it's been, I've been focusing more, I've been finishing up some other projects to have room to curate all of this that Gabri's editing. We're filming together. And meanwhile, I'll be trying to finish something on the computer, and he's like, I have to go, and he'll just run with the camera and go film something. So that's been really fun. Or like, Gabby is an amazing cook. He cooks all of our food. I've barely touched the kitchen. And he'll be making something. There a couple years? 7 years. We've been together for 5. Our anniversary is next week, our 5-year anniversary.
Oh, congrats. And, that's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And so the food will be ready, and I'll come in and I'll pick up the dish and start walking away to take it out to the living room. And he's like, no, wait, I'm going to film it. So now I'm like, you know, if you're at the restaurant, it's all Instagram. Maybe you can get annoyed about it. But if I know I could make money from that, I can wait another 5 minutes to film every dish.
Just keep a camera right by the stove, right?
Yeah. And so now everything is like, hey, I'm going to make cookies. Do you want to film it? Yeah. Hey, it's raining. Do you want to go film it? Gabby won't step foot outside in the rain unless it's to go to the grocery store. But then the other day he left for like 3 hours to go film in the rain. So it's been a good challenge. And specifically with the goal to reconnect to things that spark our interest and to kind of find that again. Because I think we're in a very fortunate place right now financially because of previous projects that we've worked on. So we're able to do this. I don't recommend this to everybody. You know, if you need to focus on a main job, focus on a main job. I'm not evangelizing stock as like the only thing you should do with your life. But for us right now, it's working out great. And then once we're more connected to the things that spark our interest and like really get us thinking and get us excited, it'll be more easy to pinpoint the next larger project and find something that we actually are invested in.
That's fantastic. I think the fact that you can take this opportunity to go through almost as an exercise to find what's going to work for you too is wow, that's just amazing. I think working together as a team like that is one of the best things you can do. I mean,
I'm really enjoying it.
I've done that for years with various projects, and much like you, we jump from project to project, which we're terrible for. But yeah, I love it. I wouldn't do it any other way.
That's great.
Yeah. So you did touch on uploading clips and stuff. Is there any stats you'd like to share? So like how many? So you have 1,000 clips now. That's just your personal clips with Gabri?
Yes. In our personal portfolio, we have just under 1,000 because we were both working on other projects before, and Gabri was working full time on completely different things, and so we were like recycling some of his work for stock, but he definitely wasn't focusing on filming stock. And in my own personal portfolio, because I've curated a lot with other collaborators, I counted and it's been over 40 by now. I think I'm up to like 44 curators or 44 collaborators. I have about 7,250 clips. And then the last few months I've been going really slow. I've been doing only about 100 to 200 per month. And then now I'm going to step that back up with Gabri.
Yeah. So you're talking about like 7,000 clips in basically 20 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
And most of that was in the first year.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I post the stats in the Blackbox group regularly. The first few months.
Which is awesome, I think.
Thank you. The first few months, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this full time for 6 months. And I did so much. And then I got a little burnt out and was like, okay, I'm going to step back.
Yeah.
Going to make a course. Because you reach a point where you have your expertise, and instead of using the expertise, you start to sell the expertise, right? So I had so many people asking me these questions that I couldn't answer all the messages, but I could make a video and then say, here's the video. I answered everything. It's right here. So then I focused on that. And then I kind of come and go when I have like time to focus on it. It kind of depends on like what else is going on.
Awesome. With those stats on Blackbox, would you be happy to share kind of your average monthly income right now from your both portfolios?
Sure. I don't have them. I don't have the income separated. I just have the overall income. Today I got the sales came out early today. Let me just check and see if there's any more. Hold on. Blackbox makes email fun again. Okay, so I had 3 sales today, and I reached 450 sales total of all time. So in the past 20 months with that portfolio, I just reached 450. And at this month, I think, I didn't check what the income was for this month then. I think I can check it real quick. I think it was at 360 before.
What kind of average you get a month?
I've been getting between 300 and 380. I think I may have just passed that today. So today might be my best month. I'll have to double check.
Okay, so at what point, so as a metadata curator, originally, I know we all started at like 20%. At what point did you start asking for 30%?
I started asking when things got absolutely ridiculous.
So 6 months in? About a year ago?
Yeah, it was about December. It was December 2018. So I'd been on it for a few months, and I had way more clips than I could possibly handle. And there was one point
at the same time.
Yeah, but there was one. There was no refuse button. So when someone assigned you clips, those were in your queue forever, unless you could convince them to delete it. Which, like, that was its own whole thing to be like, here's why you need to delete this clip. Here's why you're going to sabotage our other clips.
Oh yeah.
And so at one point, I kid you not, I had 3,000 clips assigned to me because people would say, "Can I assign you clips?" And I would say, no, I can't take any more. I can't do your 200 clips. And they would say, can I assign them to you now to get them in the queue? And you can do them in 2 or 3 months. And I was like, I guess. So I said, I guess a couple times. And then all of a sudden I had 3,000. And then I was like, no, okay, no.
That's like the rest of your year.
Yeah, because it's and that's how you get to 7,000. It's stressful.
Just gonna sign a lot of stuff. Keep going.
Even if people say, I don't mind if you don't even start for 3 months, it's every day you wake up and go, oh no, they're all there. It's too many. So even if you know,
it's terrible. Yeah.
And I want to emphasize, nobody was pressuring me. Nobody was messaging me angrily and saying, you're taking too long. Yes. Yeah. Nobody was saying, where are my clips? Are you done yet? They were all super, super nice. But then I was just sat there and I was like, I can't do this. And I decided I never want to have more clips than I could finish in 2 weeks. Because if I decided I never wanted to curate ever again, I wanted to be able to say like, whoop, I'm done. Don't send me any more. I will finish up your clips in these next 2 weeks. And then I'm moving on. Now that there's the refuse button, you don't have to worry about that. If someone random you don't know sends you clips, you can just refuse and be like, nope, didn't agree to these.
Sure. Wow. Okay. I've been working on relaunching this site, the Stock Footage Academy, and part of it's going to be these interviews and some other things. And actually, March 1st, I'm doing the 30-day challenge again for people to join in. And actually, it'll be a lot better this time because at the end, we started talking about curation. And that was where I started to talk a little bit about it and then make a few suggestions. So it'll just be a lot easier just to tell them to go take your course.
I won't complain.
Go talk to someone else.
That's basically anytime somebody asks me about like technical footage data or like anything like that, or like how to edit, like if it should be H.264 or whatever. I'm just like, you need to ask somebody else. I can talk to you all day about keywords.
Okay.
And like, when people ask me for feedback on their clips, I say, okay, I can tell you that something is not working well with it. And I can tell you that there's something wrong. And sometimes I can even tell you specifically what it is. I probably can't tell you how to fix it. So if you're cool with that, cool.
Awesome. And one of the things I'm doing with this website this year is I'm actually going to start a new portfolio from scratch to show what can be done in 12 with insomnia and dedication.
That's a great tagline.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I mean, I've seen some of the stats, especially who was it? Red Dog Media, I think,
Oh
posted
yeah.
recently. First person in Blackbox to break $50,000 in 2 years that Blackbox has
Isn't
been
that
active.
great?
That
Yeah.
is that's dream level. Like that's fantastic. So
Yeah.
yeah, 2 years, 50 grand, and that's not a straight progression. That's not linear. That's got a bit of a curve on it. So
Yeah,
most of that was
definitely.
probably in the past 12 months. I'd say probably at least 2/3 of that was the past 12 months, just the way things have
Yeah,
been going.
I think that's really exciting to see. And when you have either people who are new or people who are just kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and then they say,
Yep,
I uploaded 8 clips, they've been on there for 2 weeks, why haven't I had any sales? I'm going to quit. When you point to these success stories, you're like, look at the dedication behind that.
for
Because
sure.
that wasn't he uploaded 8 clips and then waited 2 years. It was
No,
like
no,
that
for
was
sure.
consistent hard work and dedication. So I think that's really inspiring.
Absolutely. And I find it's always about the 3 month mark. Everyone makes their first sale. I don't know what it is, just playing the odds, I guess. But
Hmm.
it seems like most people are getting antsy around 3 months. Like, why doesn't anything happen? And then somewhere around there, they get their first sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so motivating. The first, like, hey, look, you made $5 after curating this thing for someone else. Like, I am having a great day.
Yeah.
You know what? It's $5 for work I did a couple months ago. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it every time.
And I felt so validated. My first sale was about almost exactly 2 months, and it was
Nice.
1351. I will always remember, and it was a curation sale. And I was just so excited that I actually did it because nobody believed in me. Nobody believed it was a real thing that could actually happen. And like there's been so many things I've done where everyone's like, "Yeah, good luck with that."
Yeah.
And how does that work? And
Yeah,
who buys that? And I was like,
for
no,
sure.
just believe me. Like even Garvey was like, yeah, sure, don't get your hopes up. And I was like, I will
Nice.
though.
Always. Yeah. Actually, what was validating for me was this year, in the summer, I sold two of my clips, but my personal clips, so 100% ownership. Um, and I didn't know where they went. It was probably June, I think, and they were bought at a full price. So they
Wow.
were 4K clips, and they were bought for like a broadcast license,
Oh,
basically.
that's so nice.
And that was awesome. I mean, in the end, one sale is not gonna help me retire, but just the validation of someone, like, not just keywording I did, but my footage.
That's
And then the
awesome.
craziest thing was spotting in the wild 2 months later.
You did.
Yes, I did. It was really funny because I was watching The Amazing Race Canada, which is on, one of our national channels. So for us, it's kind of a big deal.
I
And
remember
they
you
were,
sent me the clip of it. I remember now.
yeah, yeah. So they were here in Nova Scotia in Grand Prairie,
Yeah.
and we were watching the episode, and it was nearby. I mean, it's about an hour for me, and I do a lot of work in the area. And there's a clip of the minus base and the body of water that we're on, and I turned to Jen and I said, "See, if I'd actually had any clips in Grand Prairie, that could be mine." And then there's looking at it, and she's like, "Are you sure it's not yours?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't shoot anything in Grand Prairie. It's actually from about 20 kilometers away, the other side of the body of water. There's a little area called Kingsport. I was shooting a house there. I do a lot of real estate. And after I finished doing the drone video, I just kind of flew around the coast a little bit and got some good footage and cut it up afterwards for Blackbox. And yeah, so who uses it? This television show found out it was, well, they production companies know what a lot of people don't know, and
Yeah.
it's cheaper for them to buy my footage than it is to go send a drone operator to go get fresh footage for them. And then they have to worry about how many people they have to send, how much is the gear, how long does it take, what's the per diem. Like, it'd be so expensive to send their own operator to do that. Whereas buying my footage online wasn't that expensive comparatively. And it looks like they bought two clips and used one of them for like less than 2 seconds. And I was so excited. And I definitely
That's so
recorded it on my
fun.
phone and shared it. And I hear these stories, like people spotting their stuff in the wild. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I can't wait. I wish that happened to me someday. And it did. And even just being able to point to that, want to talk about validation and support from friends and family. It's like, okay, yeah, this isn't just a sale somewhere. You saw that on television.
That's so fun.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
That's so fun. I've sold a couple clips that I'm in, and I always wonder how those are being used.
Do you really want to know?
Terms of service, but
yeah, seriously. We got a late start today, so I'm actually gonna have to wrap this up. But I would love to chat again some more sometime. Last thing is, we've already talked about your course, but give us that last final pitch for why people should go to Skillshare and look up your course.
It's a great way to make sure that you're following best practices. You know, you spend an hour and maybe you know nothing, maybe you already know best practices and you want to double check. And it's just a very clear, straightforward hour long. Here's what the agencies say they want, and here's what they say they don't want. And if you want some feedback on your work, you're welcome to upload a metadata reel, and I'm happy to give you feedback. And you can also go through and see the feedback I've left on all the other, I think there's 76 projects there now. So
fantastic.
Just happy to help.
Where can people find you if they want to follow you somewhere?
Let's see. I'm kind of still setting all that stuff up. Right now I'm on Facebook, and I have a landing page for an email list that has a weird link. So I don't have like a...
Well, send it to me and I will put it up in the show notes, because I've been getting those emails. And again, those are just value added after taking the course. I think, especially when things change, like you're there providing up-to-date information. And I would highly recommend anyone who's interested in keywording metadata to sign up for Victoria's list and just keep up to date with what's going on. It's kind of like, as much as like you sign up to Blackbox and you put out a clip and then it goes to a bunch of different sites, instead of going to each of the different sites and finding out what the new best practices are every month when they change them, just find it for Victoria's email and let her do the work.
Thanks.
Well, really, you're sharing fantastic information.
So I have that going on, and I'm working on some other new potential things that I'll hopefully release soon.
Awesome.
I'll just leave a mysterious teaser.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
Yeah.